Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Score Studio, and I just made a mistake. Not the Commander Score Studio, there we go. Welcome to the show. So today's episode comes to you courtesy of one of my amazing patrons, Garen, who's been supporting this channel as a Golden Pig tier patron. I truly couldn't do this without the support from amazing patrons like Garen, so again, Garen, thank you so much. And for the commander for Garen's episode, Garen chose Esika, God of the Tree. Well, technically, I chose the commander because Garen actually chose the theme of the deck and what it be built around, and we'll get to that here in a second. But I think it's pretty on point, actually. Esika, God of the Tree is a 1/4 legendary creature god with vigilance that costs 1 green. Tap for 1 mana of any color. Other legendary creatures you control have vigilance and tap for 1 mana of any color. So this can be an incredible effect that can give you a lot of mana. And also, if you've got a lot of legends in the deck, which we'll get to here in a second, we most definitely do. The backside is also good, though. I actually love building around that, too. The Prismatic Bridge, legendary enchantment for Wooburg. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards to the top of your library to reveal a creature or planeswalker card. But on the battlefield, the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. With this deck, I actually would say that we want to focus more so on the front because it's going to help us out a bit more once we really get things going, especially with that vigilance being able to swing out and then also utilize mana. So we're going to focus on that side. That being said, when it comes to the focus, we need to talk about the #1 card in this deck to actually show that off. That being said, beforehand, I am going to say this is still a very budget-friendly deck with an estimated cost of $28.34 according to Moxfield, not including basic lands or shipping. But yeah, those basics you might be able to get from friends. You might just have them lying around. You might get them for LGS or just buy them in bulk. That being said, very, very budget-friendly still, even with a commander that is about $4. And there's one other card that is outside of my normal budget range. Again, every card in this deck, except for these, are less than 50 cents or less, I should say. With all that said, let's jump into that card. Because Garen was very excited about the World Tree, the golden pig of this deck, the #1 card out of her 99, and for a reason. $3.74, so again, slightly outside the budget, but I made the exception for this one. Land enters battlefield, taps for a green. As long as you control 6 or more lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. So, hey, perfect mana fixing. Congratulations. On top of that, pay double Wooburg. Again, Wooburg twice. Tap, sacrifice the World Tree. Search life for any number of God cards, put them on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So, this is a God tribal build, which I will let you know is pretty hard to do on a budget where I am including cards. I guess I made a mistake earlier. I actually made an exception for the gods, where normally in the recent days I've been doing, cards that are 50 cents or less. Originally, it was, $1 or less for a while, too. So, I'm back to that specifically for the gods, $1 or less. So, again, I tried to get the budget as low as I could on this one. That being said, many of the gods that are out there are decently expensive, so don't fit into that, but I am making things work with this one. So, our goal for this deck is get this out, get enough mana, activate it, and go get those gods to win the game from there. So now let's move on to tactic #2, tree planting, because, the deck revolves around the World Tree. We need to get the World Tree. So how do we do that? Nylea's Intervention is a great way to do so. Source for X green, choose 1. Go get X land cards, reel them, put in your hand, then shuffle. Most importantly, with these land searching effects, make sure it doesn't specify basic, because the World Tree is not basic, unfortunately. It's also not legendary for some reason. Don't know why that is, but Wizards, what are you doing? There's only one of them. Anyways, it deals twice X damage to each creature with flying. So being able to take out your opponent's flyers, that's nice, but more importantly, you're probably going to pay 3 mana to go get that land. Speaking of mana, though, 2 mana, Sylvan Scrying. Go get any land card, put in your hand, then shuffle. So again, a fantastic tutor for our Golden Pig. Moving on, Mythos Abroko, sorcery for 4 mana in total, but if you spend blue and black for those 2 generic cost, you can search your library for a card, put the card in your graveyard, then shuffle your library, bring back 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So basically, World Tree from your graveyard, from your library, goes in your graveyard. You get it out of there, you get it in your hand. Congratulations. Reap and Sow. You can either destroy a land or search your library for land and get it right into play. So again, or you can actually do both by 20. So if you really want to get rid of your opponent's Gaia's Cradle, cool, do so, but also make sure you're getting your World Tree. Bring to Light, this one's actually kind of funny. Search your library for a creature, instant sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast this. Exile, then shuffle your library, you may cast a card with paying its mana cost. This is kind of like a tutor for a tutor. This can't go get you the World Tree because it can't get you a land. That being said, it can go get you any of these other tutors to go get you that land. I guess not Nylea's Intervention, but still, like, go get Sylvan Scrying. You just pay 5 mana, you go get it. Cool. Congratulations. go get a tutor to a tutor and cast that. Then we've got Final Parting. They'll get 2 cards out of your library. One goes into your graveyard, one goes into your hand. Chances are it's probably not World Tree in your graveyard, but yeah, go get whatever, put it in your graveyard. Cool. Congratulations, World Tree in your hand. Moving on to Illicit Shipment. If you've got a creature you can sacrifice with this one, congratulations. Do so and tutor for a second thing, Casualty 3. Search life for a card, put in your hand, then shuffle. If you did sacrifice, you get to double up to search for 2 things. Then we've got Razcast Right. If we don't need the tutor, we can cycle it away by a single black mana. Congratulations. Or search life for a card, get in your hand, then shuffle. So again, a tutor for 5 mana. And then finally, Titania's Command. We've got Source for 6 mana, choose 2. Exile a graveyard, gain 1 life for each card exile this way. Congratulations. If you need to do that, do that. Then we've got Search life for 2 land cards for the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So nice ramp there, while also again does not specify basic. So yeah, go get the World Tree and something else, or you can make some bears, or you can get counters to creature control. Whatever you need to do, this can help you do just that. Moving on, tactic number 3, because, well, yeah, we went and got the tree, we got into play, but we also need a lot of mana, massive amounts of mana to actually activate that. Again, double Wooburg. It's not really, again, that specific because we're going to have 6 more lands, right? So it's just 10 lands. Make sure you have those 10 lands. Make sure the World Tree, activate it. Let's ramp to do so. First up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble. 2 tap sacrifice. Go get a base land to play tapped. But then we've got Fertile Ground, which is a great enchantment on a land that can help with tap for an extra mana. We've got Rampant Growth, the OG ramp. Go get 1 land, put to play tapped. Edge of Autumn, exact same thing. I should specify basic lands for these, obviously. Does the exact same thing as long as we have 4 or fewer lands, and we can cycle it away by sacrificing land if we need to do so. Colony Hair Expedition doesn't ramp us until we get 3 counters on it, that landfall. When we do, though, it's basically a 2 mana ramp 2 spell, which is fantastic. Altar the Pantheon, a very interesting one for this deck. An artifact for 3, just taps for 1 mana of any color. Not very efficient, obviously. That being said, it increases our devotion to all colors +1, and on top of that, if we control a god, we gain a life. Congratulations. We're going to be able doing that. Then we've got Grow from the Ashes. If we kick it, we get 2 basics into play untapped. If we don't kick it, we get 1. So yeah, great amounts of mana right there. We can also utilize mana from Harrow right away. Sacrifice 1 land, go get 2 into play untapped. Rolling Regrowth, slightly worse Harrow. Basically, sacrifice a land, get 2 into play, tapped, unfortunately, but that's still okay. Search for Tomorrow, another great turn 1 play. Suspend 2 for a single green mana, get a basic into play, untap. Springmoon Druid, sacrifice 1 land, get 2 into play, tap. Basically, Rolling Regrowth on an ETB. Explosive Vegetation, go get 2 basics for 4 mana into play, tapped. Exact same thing with Invasion of Zendikar on that ETB. Also, we can take it out and flip it over. When we do so, hey, even more mana, a 4/4 that can tap for 1 mana of any color. Migration Path, basically Explosive Vegetation plus cycling 2. Vastwood Surge, pay 4. If we kick it extra, we get 2 counters on every one of our creatures, and our gods can become even more deadly with this. And then finally, Nissa's Renewal. 6 mana, go get 3 lands, and also we get to gain 7 life. What's not to love about that? But now we want to do tactic number 4, Godly Power, because yes, there are some gods that are even budget friendly for us, like, Cosima, which is only like 29 cents. A 2/4 god, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile Cosima. If you do, it gains whenever a land enters battlefield under your control. If Cosima is exiled, put a voyage counter on it. If you don't, return to the battlefield, X counters on it, and draw X cards or X number of voyage counters on it. So yeah, a way to store up a ton of voyage counters on it. You also have the backside vehicle. We're probably not going to utilize that side, so I'll just stick with this. Egon, God of Death. A 6/6 Death Touch god for 3 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't sacrifice it, draw a card. Yeah, again, when we're having kind of this big, massive play by getting all these gods out, yeah, we're probably going to have at least a couple cards in our graveyard we can exile to keep Egon around for a while. If we don't, we at least get to replace it. Moving on, Kefnet, the Mindful 5/5 flying indestructible, can attack or block. Let you got 7 more cards in hand. We've got ways to draw good enough cards, including Kefnet. 3 and a blue, draw a card, then you may return a land card you control to its owner's hand. So kind of like a way to get 2 into your hand if you need to. Redane, God of the Worthy, one way to really turn it on your opponents and say, let's shut some of your things down. A 2/3 flying vigilant god. Snowland your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. That's quite funny against your opponent's snow decks. Non-creature spells your opponents cast that convert mana cost 4 or greater, cost 2 more to cast. That can really slow your opponents down as well. Then on the backside, if we need it, Valkmira, Protector's Shield. If a source opponent control will deal damage to your permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage. Whenever you and other permanent you control becomes the target of spell or ability opponent controls, counterless to pay 1, kind of like a ward effect as well. Then we've got Bane, Lord of Darkness. Sorry, I had to do the voice. 5/2 God for 4 mana in total. As long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, it has indestructible, so can be pretty hard to deal with. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, target opponent may have you draw a card. If they don't, you put a creature card with equal or lesser toughness from your hand onto the battlefield. Chances are pretty likely, unless you don't have a hand, your opponents are going to be like, draw the card, please, draw the card. So it can be a lot of card advantage for you. Next up, Erebos, Blackhearted, 5/6, indestructible, needs devotion to be 5 to be a creature. When another creature you control dies, you can pay 2 life if you do draw a card. So again, more great card advantage with that. Also pay 1 in black, sacrifice a creature. Target creature gets -2/-1 until turn if you really need to do that. Then we got Heliod, God of the Sun. Again, devotion 5 for white, 5/6, indestructible. Other creatures control vigilance, which is nice. Pay 4, make a 2/1 cleric. Then we've got Heliod, the Radiant Dawn. Yet another Heliod, 4/4, enters the battlefield. Return target enchantment card that isn't a god from your graveyard to your hand. Pay 3 in Phyrexian blue to flip it. When you do, it becomes disgustingly good. 4/6, you can cast anything at flash speed, basically Vidalcan Ori. On top of that, spells you cast cost 1 cast for each card opponents have drawn this turn. It can basically make your spells a lot cheaper to play if you need to. Then we've got Inga and Esika. Creature control vigilance and tap at 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana to cast a creature spell. So again, if you have your other Esika in play, you probably don't really need to utilize that. But still, on top of that, whenever you cast a creature spell, 3 or more mana for creatures spent to cast it, draw a card. A lot of our creatures meet that requirement, so we can draw a lot of cards with this. Kolvari, God of Kinship, a 2/4, that if you control 3 or more ledger creatures, it gets +2, +4, +2 in vigilance. So yeah, we're going to meet that. Basically 6/6 vigilant creature. Pay 1 in a green, tap X card to your library. May reveal a ledger creature card from among them, put it in your hand. Rest of the bottom of your library in random order if you need to do that. Also on the other side, it can be an early man rock for us. Enters battlefield, choose a creature type. God, taps for a green, spend it only for a legendary spell or a creature type. Then we got Allrun, God of the Cosmos, +1 for each card in your hand and each foretold card you own or in exile. Beginning of your end step, choose a card type, then reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type away in your hand. The rest of the bottom of your library in random order. Also the backside, a small little raven if we need it. 2/3, flyer. When it goes counter to a player, return to someone's hand, then scry 2. So there's an extra card selection for us there. Baal, Lord of Murder. That's a great name. 4/4, God for 5 mana in total. Again, same requirement as Bane. It gets indestructible if your life total is less than half or half or less. Whenever another non-token creature control dies, you get a counter on target creature and you goad it. So this can be quite good at incentivizing your opponents to attack each other. Then we've got Jeru and Hazaret. We've got as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand as Vigilance and Haste, so that can be nice. When it attacks the top 6 cards of your library, exile a ledger creature card from one of them, put it on the bottom of your library, put the rest of your library to random order until the end of your next turn. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. So that can be a lot of value for you there. Speaking of value, Asmodeus the Archfiend. If you've got mana fixing for this, which again, the World Tree can help you with that, this can be incredible for you. 6/6. If you draw a card, exile the top card of your library face down instead. Pay black, draw 7 cards. Pay a single black, return all cards, exile with it to its owner's hand. You lose that much life. Yeah, kind of like a Necropotence-ish type effect where you can just draw an absurd amount of cards very, very quickly at the cost of life, but that's okay with us. And then finally, Miracle Lord of Bones, a crazy good god. 7/5 God for 7 mana, as long as your life total is less than that half. Hey, cool. Indestructible. Whenever another non-token creature control dies, you can exile it. If you do create tokens, copy the card, accept an enchantment, loses all their card types. So that can be quite helpful with many of our cards out there. But next up, let's move on to tactic number 5, Godly Changes, because technically, changelings are gods, right? They're every single creature type, including gods. So World Tree says, yeah, we'll get you too. We've got Changeling Outcast, a 1/1 shapeshift for a single black mana changeling. It can't block, it can't be blocked. Yeah, we can have a very explosive turn when we activate the World Tree, either like right before our turn or on it. And essentially, yeah, we've got ways to make this even more deadly. Moving on, Bloodline Pretender. Speaking of deadly, a 2/2 changeling enters battlefield as a creature type. God. Whenever the creature of the chosen type enters battlefield under control, get a counter on it. So again, if we get like our 15 gods, 18 gods, whatever it is, they all come into play, and this is like, okay, cool, I'm like a 20/20 already. Next up, a regular cohort, a 2/2 changeling, enters battlefield, make a 2/2 changeling. So again, 2 gods in play, what's not to love about that? Finally, Mariah the Frost, a 0/0 changeling, enters battlefield as a copy of a permanent you control, except it's legendary and snow to other types, and it's a creature, it enters with 2 counters on it, and has changeling as well. So again, basically like a clone god that can be slightly larger than something else. But like I said earlier, we've got ways to make these even deadlier. So let's move on to attack number 6, pump it up. First up, Rally the Ranks, enchant for 2 mana, enters battlefield, which is a creature type, God. Gods get +1/+1 that you control. So a great low to the ground anthem that can pump our team. Speaking of which, Rising of the Day, creature control of haste, ledger, creature control at +1/+0. Again, our gods are legendary, so a nice little pump effect there. And yeah, just being able to swing with them right away makes it so that, hey, we just activate World Tree on our turn in. Goodbye, opponents. Moving on, Levitation, a great way to get them through. Almost tripped up on that. All creature control gain flying. Yes, being able to just swing through with your gods, and all of a sudden, oh, those gods are now in the air for some, oh gosh, oh, here they come. Oh, here they come. Yeah, your opponents are not going to see this coming. I mean, I guess they will if it's in play, but they're going to get taken out. Next up, they really won't see this one coming. Dictate of Heliod, flash enchantment for 5 mana, creature control +2/+2, a great way to, out of nowhere, pump your team and say, yeah, you thought they weren't that deadly, they're even more deadly now. Speaking of deadly, Heroes Podium, Ledger artifact for 5 mana. Each Ledger creature control gets +1 for each other Ledger creature you control. Yeah, you activate World Tree, you get all your gods into play, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, everything gets like +15/+15. Yeah, your opponents are going to be gone in absolutely no time with this. Also, you've got some card advantage out of this too. Pay X tap, look at the top X cards of your library, reveal a Ledger creature card from among them, put in your hand, the rest of the bottom of your library in random order. Moving on, Sight of the Scale Lords. At the beginning of combat on your turn, creature control with toughness 4 or greater get +2/+2 in vigilance until end of turn, so pump them and also swing out freely. And then finally, collect a blessing, just a straight up 6 mana. Hey, your creatures get +3/+3, a great way to pump them and to say, yeah, my army is much more deadly now. Next up, let's go on to tactic number 7, dig down, because outside of all those tutors, which we already talked about, we've got some ways to dig down into our deck as well to get to what we need. First up, Bitter Reunion. Enters the battlefield, discard a card. If you do, draw 2. Lovely. On top of that, though, pay 1, sacrifice it. Creature control, again, haste all turn. This is a crazy good card, especially for this kind of a deck where it's like, okay, cool, yeah, my creatures came into play. Oh yeah, all of them. Okay, haste. Swing right away, take your opponents out. Moving on, explore. Draw a card, place your land this turn. Growth Spiral, basically the exact same thing, but at instant speed, put that land into play. Eureka Moment, basically exact same thing, but you draw 2 instead. Escape to the Wilds, basically impulse draw 5, play to land this turn, so that's a lot of temporary card advantage, and ramp as well. Urban Evolution, draw 3 cards, play to land this turn. What's not to love about this? Next up, we've already talked about some ways to throw a wrench to our opponent's plans, but next up we've got tactic number 8, Godly Judgment. Broken Bond, destroy an artifact or enchantment, get an extra land into play. Again, we've got so many ways to get a lot of lands into play. We can make this happen quite quickly with that World Tree activation, essentially. Next up, Crush Contraband, choose one or both. Usually you choose both. Exile an artifact, exile an enchantment. Speaking of choices, Aether Gale, 5 mana, bounce 6 non-land permanents, incredibly effective, incredibly efficient. Urza's Ruinous Blast, hey opponents. Do you have all legendaries in play? No, you don't? Okay, goodbye. We are going to exile all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. So our gods are staying in play and our opponents will not be doing that. Warstorm Surge, a crazy good effect as well. Enchantment for 6 mana. Creature in its battlefield under control deals damage equal to its power to any target. A great way to say, okay, I'll take that out, take that out, take that out. Or hey, World Tree activation, all my creatures come into play. Let's deal an absurd amount of damage to basically everything we need to. Just melt your opponent's faces off. But finally, let's talk about tactic number 9, Great Land, because we already talked about all the non-land cards in this deck. Let's highlight one great one, which is Tyrant Sanctum. Tap for a colorless, pay 2 and tap. Target Ledger creature comes a god or other types, put a counter on it. You can just skip that most likely. Pay 4, tap, sacrifice this, get an indestructible counter target god. So again, save one of your gods that can be quite crucial to this deck for very, very simple, very, very easy, a crazy good land in this deck. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know your thoughts are on it. If you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.